Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, man. The more things change, the more they stay the same, don't they? We are so back, y'all. Welcome back. Brand new weekend rollout. Just a heads up, usually I like to have like some kind of script or an outline planned for these videos just so I'm giving you guys as much insight as I can give, but I'm going off the cuff. I'm weighing this thing. It's probably gonna be super quickly edited just because I wanna get my pure, candid thoughts out there. So starting from the top, The Weeknd has recently posted these vignettes, kind of like Renaissance paintings, taking us through the After Hours trilogy. You know, he got him rolling the dice, got Don FM, him being in the Sacrifice music video, like literally taking us through scenes from these music videos, right? First reaction, I was at work. I just got the chills, you know, this like pure emotional like wave just hit me, and it's weird to think about. Just take a moment right now, think about where you were 4 years ago. It feels like a long time ago, you know, like, man, to think that we've been able to sit with this music for those 4 years, and now we're getting the culmination of that trilogy. And not just the trilogy, but also The Weeknd's entire discography. Like, this is what everything has been leading up to, and I can't help but start to feel the weight of that a little bit as we get closer, as we go through this rollout. So when I see these scenes and then all of a sudden we start to see something that was alluded to in the How I Met Your Mother, How Do I Make You Love Me music video of, you know, Baby Abel, or as I and my friend like to say, Babel, keep Babel alive. So yeah, Babel, if you think about what that represents, I think it is meant to represent, you know, that inner child, that the version of The Weeknd that we haven't really been able to see because he's been hiding under this mystique of, if you think about how he started, again, he just put out music under the guise of The Weeknd. People didn't know what he was, if it was a band, if it was a person, like kind of like how people think of Four Bats, where he's like, oh dude, this dude is just AI. There's obviously him transitioning from The Weeknd into Abel Tesfaye and hopefully putting out music under his real name, which is gonna be such an odd transition for I'm sure a lot of people, even though, you know, we all call him Abel anyways, but you know, seeing like the latest single from Abel Tesfaye, it's gonna be so weird. Like, I wonder if people are gonna be like, oh, that's The Weeknd, oh, that's The Weeknd, or if people are just gonna be like, oh, it's Abel, okay, this brand new artist with a bunch of fans. Is he an industry plant? Like, to some people, he's gonna be an entirely new artist, which I think is kind of cool to think about, you know? It's truly like he's being reborn. But yeah, and then you get into the second snippet, which I found super interesting. More scenes depicting Babel going through these trials and tribulations, which I feel like if the first snippet was depicting the trilogy up to this point, you know, After Hours, Don FM, I feel like the second snippet was very much scenes depicting this current album, whatever it's gonna be. That second snippet, man, besides giving me a little bit of epilepsy at the beginning there, gave me all the chills. Just knowing that this is like, it's signifying the, you know, the rollout, the build-up towards this final album, which to me, you know, After Hours felt like it was shrouded in darkness and grittiness, dare I say, from the sick and twisted mind of Abel Tesfaye. Meanwhile, Don FM was this like intermediary piece of trying to get to a better place, but you got to do the work to get there. This feels like the word I think of is just grand, just divine grandness, and that to me is so cool, knowing the kind of imagery you can pull from there. You know, we've already seen some amazing imagery, but that's only scratching the surface of what this provided us, because if you listen closely and you're, you know, real XO, you may recognize that track as this scrapped, unreleased record that's been going on since the After Hours days, is Hold Your Heart. So cool that we're finally getting this version, and you know, that brings me back to, oh my god, it's been so long since we last talked, huh? Like, have we talked about Take Me Back to LA? We've been on the playback talking about it for sure. Go ahead and follow me, playback.tv/PO's Place. But yeah, Take Me Back to LA performed recently in LA. To me, that song really signifies the journey that The Weeknd's gonna go on in this album. I think there has to be some sort of conflict, and I think there's no better conflict at this point in the Weeknd storyline is to have that urge to, you know, go back to what feels familiar, you know, to go back to that darkness, to go back to, you know, in what is signified through After Hours, Hell Disguised as Paradise, LA, the home of the Weeknd character. But specifically in Take Me Back to LA, I feel like that song really signifies how we romanticize the past. And, you know, despite how in the moment, like all these things truly eat at us, eat at our soul, but then when we go back and look in retrospect, we think about all the good times and even, you know, all the bad stuff that we romanticize and think about how it got us to the point where we are. That's what I think Take Me Back to LA is. It's basically, I wish I could go back to simpler times, back when I didn't know all this stuff, back when I didn't know enough to know that I didn't know much, you know? And with that note, with Hold Your Heart and Take Me Back to LA, I think of all the unreleased tracks that we have gotten so far, you know. My homie Ray recently brought up to me like, hey, what does this mean for the unreleased record that has been called I Know I Love It When You're Angry? I'll play a little bit here. But it's really cool to see how the After Hours trilogy has been going on, and the Weeknd has been like making little crumbs and working on, like he has had this whole trilogy, you know, in totality planned and has been prepping for it, has been making records, you know, as Take Me Back to LA, literally, we're hearing it for the first time the weekend that After Hours dropped. Some of you guys may be like, stop doing tricks on it, bro. Like, you know, no duh, you want to have your ending planned out as you kind of go through your beginning. But we've seen in entertainment, you know, big movie franchises, Star Wars, create trilogies and not know where they're going, change plans in the middle of the third movie, take back things that were said in the second movie in a way that feels almost disrespectful towards that second. Like, I almost just lost my train of thought there. But anyways, yeah, it's really cool that to know that all of this is going to truly be, you know, it's going to be 3 albums, but all of this is truly going to be one cohesive thought that takes us on this journey of the Weeknd character and will pay it off, maybe have callbacks to previous albums outside of the After Hours trilogy. And that's another thing I want to talk about is these 2 snippets that I've been discussing about. They've taken us through the After Hours trilogy. Like, there's literally a scene where you see Babel, and then he kind of looks up and he sees After Hours Abel, he sees Old Man Abel, and he sees Don FM Young Abel, I believe, or I don't know if that's the Abel we're gonna get in this 3rd album, but to me it looked like Don FM Weeknd. So seeing that was crazy, but I really thought it was gonna like pan over and you see Pineapple Locks Abel, you see Trilogy Weeknd, like all this stuff. So I me personally am really pulling for some sort of visual reference to even beyond the After Hours trilogy. Like, I think of the music video for Tyler the Creator's Sorry Not Sorry, where he's literally embodying all his different eras, the Goblin era, you know, Cherry Bomb era. And not only that, but when you listen to Sorry Not Sorry and you watch specifically the music video, you realize that he's actually encompassing all of these different characters throughout the song, which I thought was amazing. The only other artist that I can see doing that who has such distinct eras is The Weeknd. And, you know, to be able to hear The Weeknd's perspective through the years in one song, I think leading up to now would be whew. And as I continue to talk about, you know, what I'm looking for from this album, which, you know, is a series of videos I've been making, what I'm excited for at the moment is to see what that one line is, you know, that is going to be either some kind of lyrical callback to something we've gotten before. Yeah, some kind of lyrical callback to what we've gotten before, an all-encompassing line that truly embodies everything, the whole journey we've gone on, you know. Like, I think After Hours, I'm gonna need, you know, maybe you could do something like never need a but what I needed was me. I don't know, some kind of self-love thing, because I feel like that's what one of the underlying themes has been of the Weeknd character, has been this self-loathing, right? So the idea of him, you know, shedding this skin and finding something to love about himself and being pure in that sense. There's a Rick Rubin, Kendrick Lamar video interview where they mentioned something about how
They say kids are much closer to God in that way, like they're
heavy.
not yet indoctrinated into society, so they're closer to just pure essence.
Exactly.
that may be what the Weeknd is going through. And yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can talk about with you guys? Okay. So this is, I can't take credit for this theory. This is my man Jose from the OTP fam. So to backtrack a little bit, the Weeknd will be performing in Sao Paulo, Brazil on September 7th. And that actually falls on a Saturday. That's really interesting. The theory is that September 6th, which is the day before, is a Friday, which is when new music drops. That might be when the album releases, September 6th, which I think, as I analyze it, feels like a perfect release date for this album. Number one, it gives us enough time, as of recording this, it's about mid to late July. That gives us enough time to get a solid rollout in, maybe get a single, a music video, build up more teasers, trailers for that Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, Barry Keoghan movie, which if that is relevant somehow, we can still get a solid build-up with that. Number two, it really caps off another one of the Weeknd's kind of monikers, his King of the Fall. It's September 6th, smack dab right in the middle of the fall. And number three, it is just soon enough to where I am not pissed about like if this album ends up dropping like next year, I'm gonna be pretty mad. But September 6th, I can get excited about that. It's just like a month and a half away. Trying to think, is there anything else I want to talk about? 'Cause I'm really hungry and I want to go get some food right now. I just recently moved to LA, which is why I'm a totally different setup. As you can see, everything's kind of new around here. Still getting the Wi-Fi to work, so you know, playbacks are gonna have to be on pause for a little bit. But really, just wanted to get this video out to you guys. You'll see, you know, new things pop in here and there. But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to talk about with you guys? I mean, again, I just really want to see what the story of this final album would be, because so far these albums have had such compelling stories. To have some kind of culmination for not just this trilogy, but again, this character who's gone on such a crazy arc, starting from Trilogy, House of Balloons, all the way to now with Dawn FM being the latest. That is such a different album, just musically, sonically, lyrically, just so different from where we started. I can't wait to see what is like the final bookend of, you know, where this Weeknd character will end up. Please comment, let me know what you think, just your reactions to the snippet, reactions you have to anything I had to say. I really want to have a cool discussion. Lord knows, when I just wake up in the morning, I love reading through your comments and seeing what y'all have to say. So yeah, follow me on all the socials, link in the description, playback in the description. Chills, just, this is how real it is to the rock. Chills, baby. Oh, all right. I'm so hungry.